The design process, how does it happen? Every day we use products or services that have been designed by someone using the design process. Today we're going to just refresh the design process and how it works. Step 1 in the design process is the design situation. We need to have a context for what we're about to do. Right now, your context is that your local area needs a new restaurant. You need to provide employment for new school leavers. It needs to be economical. It's only going to have limited staff, so it needs to be easy to prepare food. And the ingredients need to be readily available and at a low cost. These set the situation for your design brief that follows in the next step. Step 2 is the design brief. This is the statement that presents the task. We have been asked by the school to design a restaurant concept for a local shopping centre. This restaurant is to create jobs for teens leaving school in the need of employment. The desire is to allow these students to complete their Certificate 2 in hospitality. This will help us know what we are doing and why we are doing it. Step 3 is analysis. The term analysis means to look deeper into things, to examine them very closely. So in the design process, it would be to identify the aims of the project. You need to question who is the client. In this case, the client would be the school. What are their expectations? They expect a good quality restaurant that will provide a service and also a training ground for Year 10 leavers to get their hospitality certificates. Who is the target market? The target market in this case would be local shoppers. So generally, people going about their business and needing food to eat while they're doing it. What is the timeline? How long do we have to get this concept underway? Is it 6 months? Is it 12 months? Is it something we need to do right now? Is there an urgency? All of these questions need to be asked so you can actually dig deeper into what the project is going to be. Okay, as part of your analysis, you need a criteria for success. The success of this project would be an operating restaurant business. It would be teenagers being able to complete their Certificate 2 in hospitality. It would be general public and their patronage of your restaurant, and there would be profit involved. Without profit, the business cannot run. It cannot pay its rent, it cannot pay for its goods used, and it cannot pay the employers that it's there. So the success of our business would be whether it was actually making money, whether people were using it, and whether the teenagers were actually succeeding in their certificates. Step 4, research and explore. This is the stage where you gather all your information. You need to ask questions when you're researching. What type of restaurants are around already? What type of cultures are represented in the neighbourhood? If your neighbourhood has a high Muslim population, you need to make sure that your menu caters for their dietary needs. Income levels are a huge issue as well. You can't serve fancy, expensive food if the people in the neighbourhood can't afford to buy it. The restaurant is not going to be successful. So these are areas that you need to research. What type of restaurants are in the shopping centre that you're looking at? Which ones do you see lots of people at? Which ones do you see standing there not getting any customers? They're obviously restaurants that are not succeeding. So do your homework. Look at what type of things are around. Step 5 is ideas. Once you've done your research and you've looked at the design brief, you need to come up with some ideas, possible concepts. At least 3 is good to have. List the pros and cons of each of your concepts. What are the good things that would make the restaurant successful? What are things that would be stumbling blocks to achieving your success? Make sure that your concepts and your thoughts are clear. Don't say, well, maybe we could have some kind of Asian restaurant. What kind of Asian? Be very specific in your ideas. Ask your peers to give you feedback on your concepts. They may have ideas that you hadn't even thought of before. With all this information, go back to the drawing board and see if those concepts are still the ones that you want. Then step 6 is to produce. Okay, we're going to produce the concept. So the solution to the design brief, we're going to select the best idea, state the reason that you've selected that one as your best. You need to know yourself and be convinced yourself that it's the right choice. Cook some of the food that you would serve and arrange a taste testing. One of the most important parts of a successful business is the use of market research. Use your peers to taste the food to see if they like it before you sell it on a mass scale. Use surveys to get their opinions. Have a look at the rejected ideas. Idea 1, Chinese restaurant. There's already lots of Chinese restaurants around, so one more may not be successful. Idea 2 may have been charcoal chicken. Most people find that type of food very greasy and not necessarily popular. You get this information from the survey that you've conducted. You will find out their popular choice and if they have any new ideas. Successful ideas from your survey may have been Indian restaurant, maybe a Filipino restaurant. These both reflect the cultures in the area and would be more popular than, say, a Thai when there's very few Thai people living in the area. These popular choices will help you to be successful and to make a profit. In the produce stage, you then have to manufacture. In the design concept, you would then be able to produce a menu. You will be able to make sure that you're complying with occupational health and safety regulations. You need to collect the necessary supplies. This may mean the food. This also may mean the equipment that you will need for the business. Suggest modifications to the menu. Tweak the menu around so that you come up with an easy to prepare yet delicious selection of food. Create the food and take a photo of the finished product. When you produce a menu, people want to see what they're getting. Show the picture of them on the menu and it makes them more interested in the food that you will serve. Step 7 is a step that should be completed a number of times during your process. You need to evaluate. You need to evaluate and you need to evaluate. Look at what you're doing and make sure you're still going in the right direction. In evaluating, you need to determine the success of your concept. What did your peers think of the concept and the service? Write down the feedback. Did you have any problems? How might you modify your solution next time? Create surveys or evaluation forms for those to fill out to get this information. Use tables and charts yourself and write down what your ideas are on the success of the concept. The final evaluation also includes an evaluation of the design process itself. What stage in your process could be improved? How would your improvement change the process? How could you rate the success of your design process? So, for example, if you didn't do enough research, then the rest of your information afterwards may not be appropriate. If you've taken more time in your market research area, then you may have found out that your concept would not have worked, or another concept may have been more successful. So look at your evaluation, look at your design process and evaluate what areas you